So I could have done this video yesterday because I was very close to the situation, even though probably nobody really even knows that. I want to talk about what happened the other day on Twitter with Pablo Hidalgo, Star Wars Theory, and their little exchange. And I'm probably going to call this video Lucasfilm Hates Its Fans, because even though I don't think everybody at Lucasfilm feels this way, obviously, but this has become kind of an annoying thing to deal with. So, what happened was, a couple days ago, actually it goes back further. So, Star Wars Theory did a live stream where he reacted to the Mandalorian finale with Luke Skywalker. And, he got emotional, like a lot of us did, including me. And, some dickhead on Twitter, some punk ass, is basically tweeting about how, trying to make fun of Theory for getting emotional. Some troll, or whatever, right? Basically, calling him a grifter, saying that he was faking it and using the emotion to grift people. And this fucking virgin troll, dude. One thing I can't stand as a creator is when some dickhead, envious piece of shit makes some kind of judgment call on us as a creator when they have no idea, like, anything about who we are, what we stand for, what we believe in. There was no way that Theory knew that Skywalker was going to show up in that episode. He got genuinely emotional, as did I, because that was kept a big secret from a lot of us, right? So this troll says that about this guy, and then Pablo Hidalgo, who is one of the heads of the Lucasfilm story group, the guy's been in Lucasfilm for many years, and he's actually been involved with helping build websites for the prequels way back in the 90s. This is like back in like the mid-90s, like even before Phantom Menace came out. He was around. He's been around for a while. He chimes in with this comment about, emotions. He basically says emotions are not for sharing. Now, that came off sarcastic. And I was talking to Theory in the DMs while this was going down, Like, I was speaking to Theory literally minutes after this happened, in Twitter DMs. And I told him, I said, I think Hidalgo was just being sarcastic. But the problem is, there's a couple of problems. Number one, why is Pablo Hidalgo, the head of Lucasfilm, why is he interacting with trolls who are talking shit about creators? Like, why would you, as a member of a corporation who has a lot of power, who has control over the direction that Star Wars takes in the future, why would you interact with somebody else trying to take somebody else down? Like, why would you do that? Star Wars Theory, unlike a lot of other channels on here, didn't make 50,000 videos about why Lucasfilm sucks and Kathy Kennedy sucks and Last Jedi sucks. Hell, I made more videos than him about that. And I didn't even come close to some of these other guys have done, right? So Hidalgo has no reason to have any kind of beef towards Star Wars Theory, right? I understand Hidalgo having issues with other YouTubers, but for Theory, he was pretty quiet about the whole thing. He said his opinion like I did, but he didn't make video after video after video talking shit about Lucasfilm, which is fine. He had every right to. In fact, the reality is that Star Wars Theory is the biggest Star Wars channel on YouTube, bigger than the official Disney Star Wars channel. He has surpassed the official company, right? And yet, he literally left millions on the table. This man left millions on the table during the Last Jedi Hate Brigade to not talk about it that much. He did make his opinion videos, but it was only a few. He could have made a video about The Last Jedi every single week for a year and raked in more money than almost anybody on this platform because of how big his channel is. It's like almost 3 million subs, right? He didn't do it. So for this fucking troll dickhead to say that he's grifting, brother, if he wanted to grift, and it would have been a different story. Then the guy's like, well, it's different if I cry while I'm watching a movie in the movie theater, but, in front of your audience, motherfucker, it was a live stream, dude. It wasn't like Theory went into that planning to cry. You know what I mean? It just kind of happened. I don't think any of us thought we were going to cry. And then Pablo Hidalgo, either he didn't know the guy was a troll, or maybe he just has his head up his ass, which I'm going to get to shortly. He freaking steps in and it's like, emotions are not for sharing. And then when he gets shamed for it, he screenshots that and then makes it his Twitter banner. And Theory took this very, very hard. Now, personally, I would not have taken it that hard, but I understand why he did. Like, I validate his emotion on this because it's very unprofessional that you have a guy who is working for the corporation that makes Star Wars, responsible for creating Star Wars, interacting with trolls. You know? And just that right there is like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing right now? And then to go in there and actually, I guess, not validate, but to entertain engaging in this, to take down a creator, a guy who genuinely loves the product that you are putting out, a guy who, to my recollection, Theory's never really talked trash about Pablo Hidalgo. Even I have in the past, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. There's a reason for that. Come on. So, after this happened, the whole thing blew up, and apparently Hidalgo did apologize, and that's fine. I'm sure that, it'll go away. But this has led to this now sort of, idea that Lucasfilm hates its fans, and it's kind of hard to argue. When Last Jedi came out, Rian Johnson, other people were very, very aggressive on Twitter towards the fandom. Now, some people, like the ones who harassed Kelly Marie Tran, they are scummy. The people who were going after Rian Johnson, like vociferously insulting him on a personal level over Star Wars, I don't condone that. But Rian Johnson was attacking people who didn't deserve it. There were members of the fandom menace who did not deserve to be treated that way, not only by Rian Johnson, but also by Pablo Hidalgo. Pablo Hidalgo has a history of being a douchebag to people on Twitter. Now, here's the thing. I'm no angel. I have also been a dick on Twitter. I think everyone's been a dick on Twitter at some point. Right? It always makes me smile when people actually use that against me. Oh, you were mean on Twitter. Yeah, everyone's mean on Twitter, bro. That's just how it is. We're human beings. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm a lot better now than I used to be, for sure. But we all have things that we do in the past that we screw up on. But Pablo Hidalgo insulting fans is a pattern. So I don't think the problem is Lucasfilm. I saw a couple of videos saying it's Kathy Kennedy Star Wars. No, Hidalgo's been involved with Star Wars since before Kennedy was, honestly. It's not a Kathleen Kennedy problem. It's a people getting hired who have chips on their shoulders, who likely have been bullied and thus became bullies, and who have this sort of passive-aggressive disdain for their own fans. Because it's one thing for a creator like Star Wars Theory or myself to, be a dick on Twitter. Because we're independent people. But if we're working for Lucasfilm or for Disney, there has to be a level of professionalism there. And Hidalgo has very often broken that. Now, I don't hate Pablo Hidalgo. But in the past, I've seen him be kind of passive-aggressive towards Star Wars fans. And same thing happened with Rian Johnson a couple years ago, to where people were criticizing his movie and he was going after them. And it wasn't like he was even listening to their criticism half the time. It was just, he would just group them all together. Now, again, I understand, because what you guys might not understand, that I'm going to shed some light on, is I do understand how sometimes things just hit a breaking point. There have been times where I have actually blocked people for asking me a question I've answered before. Now, I don't do this anymore, but I did it in the past. Because I feel like, damn, aren't you paying attention? But the answer is no. Sometimes people are too busy with their own lives, and I have to be an adult and understand that. So sometimes we tend to group people together when we shouldn't. We tend to generalize fandom and say, oh, well, if you think this, you're an idiot, or if you think that, you're a moron. It happens, okay? As human beings, it happens. But there has to be a level of self-control when you are a member of one of the biggest movie franchises in history, maybe the biggest, maybe, right? There has to be a level of control when you are working for Disney. Disney's writing your checks, making well above six figures, for sure. If he's not, he's a damn fool. Sorry, but I would not work for Disney for anything less than 200 grand a year. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, especially not in a creative role. Like, forget it. And that's low for me. I would charge way more than that. And this guy, really, the thing about Hidalgo is he's knowledgeable about Star Wars, but so are hundreds of other people, including Star Wars Theory. There's people who I know on YouTube who could take this fucking guy's job. I'm serious. They don't even need him anymore because Dave Filoni's the connection to George Lucas. They don't even need this guy. They got Dave Filoni. They could ask him all the Star Wars questions. You know? There are people on YouTube, Star Wars Explained, who could probably eat Hidalgo for lunch. But Hidalgo writes the stuff. So he's going to get more clout. And that's fine. I am not trying to in any way discredit Pablo Hidalgo as far as his knowledge of Star Wars goes. Right? But dude, don't interact with trolls who are attacking YouTubers who are fans of your product. Like I said, there were people, and I've said this before, there were people in the Fandom Menace and Star Wars fans who were very rude to Hidalgo and Rian Johnson. But they wouldn't always go after them. They go after some of the good people who are just chill. And like I said before, I understand if you have a short fuse, sometimes the internet gets to you. I get it. I am in no way justifying what Rian Johnson and Pablo Hidalgo have done, but I am saying that I do understand how sometimes you have a bad day. And if you're listening to this and you're an adult, you understand that too. But you have to be able to control yourself if you are representing a brand. And you are representing a brand when you are on Twitter and you work for that brand. See, I represent Geekdom 101. I'm me. I can say whatever the hell I want, like it or not. But if I was working for Disney, I would be thinking real hard because, buddy, you can be replaced. And maybe he doesn't care, but one thing I'm really tired of, and it's not a Lucasfilm thing, it's a corporate thing. I don't like when corporations go after their fans. Whether or not the fans love or hate your product is irrelevant. I don't like when corporations blame shift when they say, well, it's white men's fault, or it's, they're all incels, they all hate women, this and that and the third. When they do these broad generalizations. And I've complained about this before. It's like, dude, you're literally making the fans that are already mad you gave them a bad product, now they're going to hate you. They're going to actually not support you now. You know what I mean? Now they're going to say, you know what? I'm not going to buy Star Wars, I'm going to pirate it. Which a lot of people did, because it's getting easier to do nowadays. Much easier than it was when Star Wars first came out in 1977. Or even when the prequels were around. I mean, those were pirated, but now it's even easier. So it's like, dude, you're making people look for alternate sources to not support you. You're literally pushing them away. And it's like, again, I've made this mistake myself, but I regret it, and I've learned from it, and I've become better at it, right? But this guy's got to freaking learn, dude, stop being a dick to fans. Stop interacting with trolls, putting down. Because really, when I was talking to Theory about this last night, we were having this conversation, privately, of course. I'm not going to go into all the details. We talked a lot about life and things like that. Maybe I'll be on his channel someday. Who knows? But, or maybe he can be on mine. Who knows? But what I was going to tell you was, we were talking just about, shit, whatever. Just being cool, just chilling. And he was upset. But he wasn't being a bitch about it. He was upset because he thought that Lucasfilm was a lot more professional. And like I said, this guy Hidalgo has a history of treating people poorly. The fans poorly. And you just have to be able to be better at that. You know what I mean? Be better at that because those are your customers, And like I said, I'm guilty of being a dick to my customers once in a while. Genuinely. I'm sorry about that if I was. Usually I'm defending myself for whatever reason when I did it, but there were times where I went too far. And for people like this who represent Disney, maybe this guy, I'm not saying he should be fired, but maybe he should get off of social media, Maybe he should get off of Twitter. And I know it's his right. I know it's his right to have freedom of speech and all that, but dude, you're making your company look bad. You represent Lucasfilm. You have represented Lucasfilm for years. You've already got a bad reputation. Not just the product, but the stuff that you were saying. Come on, bro. Come on. And obviously this guy, Pablo Hidalgo, has something. He definitely has a complex. He was probably bullied for being a Star Wars fan when he was younger. Buddy, if that's the case, then you should relate to the rest of us. You know what I mean? Because Star Wars Theory, despite being tempted to go after Lucasfilm, didn't do it. And the dude who really pissed me off, and I told Theory this too, I was like, no, the guy who really pissed me off was that Dune Opinions account dude, Fella Whom's STDVE or whatever. That's the guy who actually pissed me off. Because he was the guy who was basically insinuating that he was trying to artificially recreate emotion when it was a live stream that happened when the episode aired. There's nothing artificial about it, homeboy. You stupid moron. And as somebody who has Geekdom 101 and has been a YouTuber, this type of shit pisses me off because I deal with it too. And I told Theory that I deal with this shit too. People always talk out of their asses. And it's not just trolls. Like, we all get it. Everybody on this platform gets it. It's not just me and Theory. Oh, well, you're lying about this, or you're doing this. It's always this negative sort of way of judging us and saying, you know, you're doing this. They're basically saying that we're doing this for the wrong reasons and that we're basically grifting people and bullshitting them. Bro, I just want to talk about fucking movies and Star Wars and Dragon Ball. That's all I want. And I'm blessed enough to get paid for it. Same thing with Theory. He just wants to fucking talk about Star Wars. That's it. There's no hidden agenda here. Is it nice that we make money? Yeah, but are you going to go into my house and look at all the Dragon Ball merch that I have in my house and say I'm not a fan? Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, dude, it's literally envy. That's literally what it is. It's actual envy. And it's very irritating. And I don't like that. I'm not a fan of it. I can relate to Theory on this. And I really hope that Lucasfilm, because they got a lot of good love from the fandom because of Mandalorian Season 2, they are going to ruin this momentum because there's a lot of people in the Fandom Menace making videos about this. All the big time Fandom Menace representation guys are making videos about this, yo. Just when you're about to get the praise of the Fandom Menace, just when they're about to say, you know what, maybe we can give them a second chance, you're going to do this to them, bro? Come on, man. Fuck Pablo Hidalgo, dude. Grow up. Really.